Happy 2019, friends. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe it's 2019. This is for real one of those years that I have been counting down the days for. I cannot wait for 2019. A lot of things are happening in 2019 for me, and I'm sure for all of you. I feel like every single year is just so exciting. It's a time for change. It's a time for growth. So many new things to look forward to throughout the year. Or maybe you are on the opposite end where 2019 sounds super stressful and you have a lot of going on. So I just decided to throw in a bonus episode for you all and just give a little bit of inspiration and motivation for you all, and just to thank you for everything that you've done to support me throughout the first few months of the podcast. So it has been so fun. So one really popular thing that I am seeing going around right now is the idea of just picking a word or a few words that are kind of going to be your guidance throughout the year that you can reflect on and just kind of live by throughout the year, which I think this is a great idea. It's so fun to just set intentions, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this in just a little bit, but I have also decided to do this too. So I decided to choose 3 words that I just want to be my motivation and just my inspiration going forward for 2019. And I challenge you all to do the same. And I'm going to challenge you to a few things throughout this episode, because I think sometimes we need someone to A, keep us accountable, and B, just to be there to kind of drive us in their direction. The last few days, I've been just kind of feeling blah, and I am realizing, you know what, I need to flip this around. I need to go into 2019 with just an open mind and just a drive and a motivation. So my 3 words that I have chosen for 2019 are fearless. I'm huge on fearless right now. My favorite quote right now to just kind of live by every single day is "Fear is a liar." This resonates so well with everything that I have done throughout this year, and I'm sure when you look back, you can all agree with me that we let fear control our lives. It's really, really hard not to allow fear to overcome us, to prevent us from reaching those goals that we want, to allow us to pursue something new, to just dream big. And so I am loving Fear is a Liar. And I'm telling you all right now, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get this tattoo because I don't have a bunch of tattoos. We've talked about this in other episodes. Random side note here. But I just love that daily reminder of fear is a liar. Don't allow fear to overcome you and prevent you from reaching your ultimate potential. So my first word is fearless, and my second word is passion. I just love the idea of going into my relationships, my marriage, my relationships with friends, family, coworkers, with my patients, with my preceptor as my final rotation as a student. All things, I just want to go into it with a passion and just a purpose and a spark. And that just really, I think, flows into everyone around you when you do have that passion. So passion is my second word. And my third word is organized. I don't know. This one is a little weird. I might have to pick a different adjective, but it means a lot to me. But just being organized in my business and growing this podcast, in my organization, in going forward with this last semester of nursing, with my doctorate program, organized in how I move forward in my practice as a nurse practitioner, and organized in my home life. I just want to have the intention of being organized in everything I do. So organized is my third word that I want to just go forward and live by a little bit. So one of the great and not so great things about the new year is we all have just been ingrained in with everything to just set these big New Year's goals every year, and a lot of them we let fall by the wayside. And something that I have heard from a lot of the really amazing people that I love to listen to as far as public speakers, motivational speakers, podcasters, authors, is just the idea of setting intentions and creating a ritual rather than just a big goal. And so just having these daily habits that get us to where we want to go. So it is easy for us to say these three things, say, I want to be fearless, I want to have passion, I want to be organized, and then just let it fall by the wayside after a couple weeks or after a month. And so a big thing is just setting specific goals and just setting daily habits and rituals that you can start to do that will allow you to live fearlessly every single day, to have passion in everything you do, and to be organized every single day with all of the things that you pursue. And your words are going to be different, but I want you to set those three words, and then I want you to come up with what habits or what ritual, even just one or two things that you can do for each of those words to get you to where you want to go. So my big thing is for fearless. I want to live in that fear is a liar. So for me, if I have it even come through my head that I can't do anything, I just will have that ritual of saying, fear is a liar. Fear is a liar. I can do this. This is not true, that I am not meant to do this. Do you know how many things throughout this year I have had come up that were very scary? And it was just, I could have allowed fear to overcome me. I knew nothing about starting a podcast when I began this. I knew nothing about interviewing for a nurse practitioner position and reaching out to people and just having big conversations with bigwigs in the hospital. Like, all of these things were very scary. And so just having that habit of saying fear is a liar and pushing through it anyway is one habit that you can get into. And one of my favorite things that I've heard this year is just from my friend Kat Golden, is just see the target, hit the target. So you can see that you want to be fearless, but how are you going to get there and hit that target this year? And just being intentional about these goals that we set. So it's not a bad thing to go for it. I really challenge you to set your goals and to have some big things that you want to accomplish this year. Goals is such an important part about this podcast, and that's something that I really feel very strongly about, that we all need to have goals. Whether you are in school, it's easy to have that goal of graduating or being an RN if you're just getting started, but what happens when you are out of school, and what is your next goal? And it doesn't have to be something big. It doesn't have to be going back to school. It doesn't have to be applying for a new position, but it can be something as real as, my goal is to be intentional every single shift and to go into every single shift with a positive attitude. That is a great goal to have. So I want you to think about your goals and see that target and hit it. And how are you going to hit it? Don't just set that target and let it fall by that wayside, but coming up with those daily habits that kind of center around your three words that you pick, or your two words. It doesn't have to be three. So that's one thing that I am really loving right now, and kind of going along with that. And when you are setting these goals, I want you to get in the habit of setting them as if you already have achieved that goal. So this is one thing that I've learned this year from Rachel Hollis. She loves to talk about it. Is so much more realistic and it's so much more attainable for you to set these goals if you are saying them as if you already achieved them. So for me, one of the big things this year that I talked about was I applied for a position for a nurse practitioner, and I'm really excited to share that I've accepted the position. I will be working in my hometown that I grew up in as a pediatric nurse practitioner at the health system I'm at now, and I'm doing my final clinical rotation there. But again, going back to your goal, when I went into this interview process, it was so easy to let that fear overcome me and say, oh my gosh, I don't have enough experience. I'm too new for this. They're going to want someone with X, Y, and Z instead of me. And it's just making that little flip to say that you already have achieved that. So I began every single time I was thinking about it, or going up those few days before the interview and leading up to walking into the interview, just in your mind saying, hi, my name is Dakota Felkowski. I am a nurse practitioner at this clinic. Or I'm Dr. Felkowski. I'm a pediatric nurse practitioner, blah. Or for you, it might be, hi, I am a registered nurse. Or hi, I'm a charge nurse. Hi, I'm a devoted, committed wife. I'm a passionate mom. Anything. You can do this with anything, but using it already as if you've already achieved that goal is so big. And this mindset shift was something that I really practiced with going into this position. And I really believe that this was really great about setting me up for the right mindset to go into this interview with confidence. So one last thing I want to challenge you all to do in 2019 is to find something that brings out that passion and something that you can do to promote your own self-care and your own personal growth and development. This has been a huge shift for me in 2018, and I cannot say enough great things about it. I kind of started out actually getting a lot of my passion originally to focus on myself and just continue to spend my time wisely in personal growth and development. Kind of actually came from my time doing network marketing. I did do network marketing for a little bit, and I really truly believe this brought out my passion for entrepreneurship, but also for just working on myself and doing things that I can grow not only my business, but me personally every single day. And some of the things that I've grown to love are reading books. So some of the books that I'm loving to read are just books that are focused on personal development, self-care, and just working on myself. And this has been huge for me. I've loved listening to them. Actually, on audio has been really fun. I do it when I work out, when I'm driving in the car, when I'm walking my dogs, or when I'm doing laundry, or just doing stuff around the house. So that's been really great. Going along with that, I have absolutely fallen in love with listening to podcasts. Thank you all for listening to mine, but I also encourage you to find other podcasts when you aren't listening to mine and my new episodes, of course, to dive into some really good podcast episodes and just get in the routine of, instead of taking the time to watch a television show, work on yourself. And while listening to these podcast episodes, there's just an endless amount of interviews and wisdom out there. So I highly encourage you to check out a podcast that you can fall in love with in 2019. And for those of you who are wanting more, something that I have vowed to do in 2019 that I kind of started doing in 2018 is picking 1 to 2 personal growth conferences to attend every year. I have found some speakers that I absolutely love, and I cannot wait to attend their conferences. I did my first kind of book tour, which was a mini kind of conference this past month, and it was amazing. So I am definitely going to be on the hunt for something I can put on the calendar for 2019, because I think it is so rejuvenating and it is so great to allow us to find our goals and create a clear vision of who we want to be in the future. And these conferences are just so uplifting and just amazing. So that is something that I really encourage you to do. You don't have to do one of these 3 things I talked about, but find something that helps you to work on yourself, to create the person that you want to be, and to stop spending so much time wasted on social media or watching television or doing things that aren't promoting our optimal person. I want to end this bonus episode with sharing with you a couple of my favorite quotes from the Florence Nightingale. The first one is, I attribute my success to this. I never gave or took any excuse. Man, friends, this one is such a big one, and it's such an important lesson to learn. Do not allow yourself to give these excuses. There is no excuse that you don't have enough experience, that you aren't outgoing enough, that you aren't fun enough, pretty enough, popular enough, whatever it may be. Fill in the blank with all the lies we tell ourselves. Stop making those excuses and take control of your own success. You've got this. I believe in every single one of us that we have a passion and we have a purpose in life, and we are all unique in what we can offer and what we can bring. You can do this. You don't need those excuses to hold you back. The second quote that I love, and it goes so well with one of my words, is how very little can be done under the spirit of fear. And like I talked about, how true is this? I want you to think about how much fear is controlling our lives. How many things have you wanted to pursue? How many people have you wanted to reach out to? How many jobs have you wanted to apply to that you didn't do or you didn't pursue because fear was telling you otherwise? So there is so much work to be done out there, and you have the ability to do it. Don't let fear control you. I hope that you all have a great start to 2019. I hope that you go and you make your vision boards, you come up with your words, you have set goals and intentions for 2019 so that we can kick butt this year. I am so thankful for all of you listening in on the Nightingale podcast. It has been such a fun journey so far, and I have just so much planned for 2019. One of my big goals is just to continue to grow this podcast and to impact as many nurses as possible. So if you are listening and you are loving the Nightingale podcast, please take a screenshot of this episode, share your favorite episode with a friend, leave a review and a rating, because it is huge in the efforts to get this podcast into as many hands as possible. Thank you all so much, and let's have a great 2019.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Nightingale Podcast. If you enjoyed this week's episode, make sure you subscribe so that you are getting weekly notifications when the new episode comes out. And while you are there, I would really appreciate you leaving a review, and maybe your review will be featured on an upcoming podcast. You can check out all episodes at thenightingalepodcast.com or on Facebook at The Nightingale Podcast.